If you're poor in the United States, you can fill out a form and get financial aid and go to college. Please scroll on if this doesn't resonate. You know, this doesn't have to be about college, but I am going to tell some stories that I feel like I'm supposed to tell right now. This channel used to be more about me telling stuff like that, and then I got more into these cards, which I make myself. No one in my family had gone to college before, like, you know, so I didn't know that you could just fill out a form. Like, you know, I went to college on full financial aid loans that I still have to pay back, but it was worth it. Completely worth it. A lot of people don't know that. Usually guidance counselors don't even make that clear to you. Now, things may have changed. This is a long time ago, but I don't think they've changed that much, because I brought this up on another channel before, and a lot of people told me the same thing, that they didn't know that. Especially heartbreaking to me, because what happens a lot is I'll see people I went to high school with, and oh, it's sad. It makes me sad. If I say something like, oh, I went to college, they'll say, you know, well, I wish I could have gone, but my family couldn't afford to send me. Well, mine couldn't either. I filled out a form, got a bunch of financial aid, but I don't say that. I just like, oh yeah. If it hadn't been for the fact that I knew other people, I wouldn't have known either, because the guidance counselor did not make it clear. And what's really sad, and like, here's what's really going through my head. Okay, emotional vampire couldn't be what you wanted. You attracted things, speak life. Okay, and this could just be a metaphor for what you're going through. It doesn't have to be someone who's like going off to college or trying to think about college. But here's something that's really going through my head is, when I was going through all this, like, here's what happened. Like, I filled out a financial aid form, and I can't even think, the ACT test, like SATs. So all these colleges, like, once they got my scores, they started sending me forms, like, especially in-state schools. Like, here's what I say in-state, what I mean is a public school. In your state, you're going to have public and private schools. You want to pick a public school, because what happens is these private schools start reaching out to you as well. And I know some people who've had these huge, enormous loans, like way more than I paid back, because they went to schools like that recruited them, because they too were in my position, like first person in their family to go to college, didn't really know what was going on. And I see it now. I see where I almost got bamboozled into going to a college that was 4 or 5 times the cost of where I went. Because I feel like someone's being held back. Like, this just screams at me, someone's trying to hold you back. They couldn't be what you wanted, couldn't be what they wanted. They see you attracting good things, they're trying to hold you back. Emotional vampire. You need to speak life. You need to not listen to this person. They're trying to hold you back. They don't know any better. Here's a story really going through my head, is that I was a senior in high school, and I had gone on a few college tours. Well, one of them, like, it was this little van that picked up me and some other girls who they already knew they were going to go to this college. And I'm not going to say what college it was. And it was some girls I really didn't know, and they were nice to me and everything, but they all knew they were going to, they sort of, I don't know if they all grew up together. Like, in hindsight, I don't know. Like, I wonder if their parents had also done this. That's what I mean. These types of things sort of stay within a family. And anyway, these girls knew, obviously, they wanted to go to this college, and it was a very expensive college, and we were on tour there, and it's one of those places where, I'm going to be honest with you, if you see something that ends with college, like, here's what I'm talking about. Usually, schools that end with college, very expensive ones, like when I say the private schools, usually it's run by, like, a religious denomination, like Baptist or Presbyterians or someone. I don't think it's really, like, forced down your throat or anything, you know what I mean? It's just a very, very expensive, fancy school. And there's something called pay your fee, get your C. Okay, pay your fee, get your C. Mommy and daddy paid for your degree. It means everybody gets a degree. It means, like, you could be dumb as a box of dirt, and if you pay for, like, a nursing degree at that school, you're going to get a nursing degree. I'm not saying those girls, like, if they happen to hear this, I apologize. I'm not talking about you personally. I actually think they probably could have gone other places, but they knew what they wanted to go to that school, and I could tell they had sort of already decided that. I sort of felt like the outsider. Freeze, let me add that at public schools, it's not like that. You don't just get handed a degree. Like, you have to do, like, pre-nursing and then apply to the nursing program, for example, and then you may or may not get in because it's very competitive. They only allow a certain amount of people. It's not like that at public schools. But we got in this van and went to tour the school. Well, at the time, I kind of already knew I didn't want to go there, but the recruiter was recruiting me hard. I'm like, okay, I haven't tried yet. I'll at least go on a tour. I'll see if I like this place, because she was really recruiting me hard. I mean, the whole school, like, it's small, it's much more expensive, very luxurious, very, like, private school feel, like everybody knows each other, just really small. And Oh, and by the way, a lot of times these private schools also do recruit like the valedictorians, salutatorians of your school, because they do have, I mean, they want to have those credentials. They want to have those, you know, really, really smart people there. My grades were garbage because I did that on purpose just to sabotage myself. It's a long story. I'm not going to get into that right now. What I'm going to tell you, though, is I made up for it in my entrance exams and ACT scores, okay? SAT. And so they were recruiting me, but also I now see this. They go after the people who don't know any better. Like, okay, let me back up. I'm on this tour with these girls and this recruiter, and I remember they took us through one building and then another building, and they all looked exactly the same to me. And I was just like, this is so boring. But I just remember all the buildings looked exactly alike, and I usually have the best sense of direction. I have like a bizarrely insane, like good sense of direction. And I said, like, after we got outside this one building, we were on the tour, I said, where are we? And the girls all laughed, and they left there, oh, you got lost. They treated me like I just didn't know anything. No, I wasn't lost. The buildings all look the same. And anyway, so keep this in mind, okay? A few weeks later, the recruiter calls me, and she's like, so where are you going to go, you know, and all this, and really trying hard. Like, she's trying to get me on the hook because she had been trying. And I'm like, I decided on this other school. She goes, oh, no, you're going to get lost there. Like, I'm like, I'm not going to get lost. I know. I just wanted, for the record, if any of those girls happen to be watching, not once did I get lost at this big school where I went, okay? Because I don't get lost places. I got lost at this little school that obviously wasn't meant for me. It was just so boring. Every building looked the same. We started talking about financial aid too. I said, well, you know, they have financial aid, because by then I had done some price comparisons, you know, and I'm like, why in the world would I get this huge, enormous loan to go to this private school when I could go to this public school where I'm obviously meant to fit in? I don't know, like, I just didn't fit in at the small school. It just wasn't for me. And I really didn't want that feel where everybody knows each other. I kind of wanted to get lost in the crowd. That was kind of what I wanted. And I liked the bigger atmosphere. Well, she was like, well, we have loans too. You know, we can do all this. We have Perkins loans. We get Pell Grants. I'd already priced it out. I'd already looked at it. I'm like, oh my gosh. The loans I would have had to get it was like 4 times the amount. And what's really sad to me too is that I've known people who did that. And I see, here's where I'm going with this. She was trying to bamboozle me into getting all that financial aid before the public schools got a hold of me. That's what it was. Let me explain to you how the repayment plan works. A graduated payment plan, which means, like, as you make more money in your career, which you may or may not, but the assumption is that you will, that your payments get higher. Like, you start out making like a minimum payment, then every year it'll jump up like 10% until it's supposed to be along with the money that you're making, because hopefully you're making money because you got a college degree. Well, my first few years out of college, my repayment was, you know, $100 and something a month for a while. It went up, you know, $200 something. I knew people who, because they did this thing where they went to one of those colleges, those private colleges where everyone gets a degree, that's what they're paying for. And that's why, you see, that's a rich people trick. People know that. That's why they send their kids there year after year. They could be dumb, but they're going to send them there anyway to get their law degree or whatever. I'm not joking. Everybody gets a degree. It doesn't mean they're smarter than you. It just means they had more money than you. Well, here's the thing. These recruiters are also trying to get these poor people on the hook, trying to get that financial aid money. I think that's what it was, because I've known people who their repayment plan, like first, second, or third year out of college, was $600 or $800. It's because they went to one of those colleges. That's huge. That's life-changing, okay? I've known people who couldn't pay their mortgage and feed their family because they were paying $800 a month in student loans. Like, I don't even know what's going on with that these days. I could be completely out of touch, and this could just be a metaphor. It's just something someone needed to hear. Don't let people hold you back because they couldn't go out and do something, because they were afraid. Because honestly, what happened was just 1 or 2 people showed me the way. That's all it takes. That's all it took, was 1 or 2 people to show me the way. And no, it was not my guidance counselor or a teacher. It was someone who also was the first person to have done it. So I went off and did it because I saw them, and then I saw a few others. It's almost like a secret someone has to let you in on in life. And it's not just this thing about college. There's all kinds of things like this. Don't be afraid to be the first one to do something. Someone has to do it. You attract good things, so speak life. Speak life. you attract good things. It is spoken, it is written, and so it is. Amen.